EDA regular meeting for July 16th, 2026 to order and take the roll call. Before we take the roll call, we have to vote to allow Taryn Bryce Rowland to be here virtually, online.
Okay.
So, and be an active member from virtual internet. So, like a motion for that?
I make a motion to let Taryn come in virtually.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Morning, Taryn.
Good morning, Taryn. How are you?
Yep.
Good morning, thanks guys.
She'll be along.
Ah, there you are.
Just a minute.
Good. Well, we'll take roll call. Taryn Bryce Rowland, are you here?
Present.
Present? Thank you. Billy Barrick,
Here.
Rory Carter,
Present.
Samuel Rice,
Present.
Bruce Sanders,
Present.
Tom Richardson, present. And then we have John Bateman here attending as others. So we have a quorum. We are official. In the package is the April 16th, 2026 meeting minutes. Hope everybody received those earlier this week. It might have been, actually, I think yesterday.
Yesterday.
And if you take a minute to look through here, if there's any changes or corrections needed. If
I
not,
noticed something for the first time. I think it lists me as vice chairman, but I thought Roy was offered to be vice chair.
Taryn, can you speak a little bit closer to your mic? We cannot hear you.
Oh, sure. Am I supposed to be vice chairman or is that Roy? I couldn't remember. Because I think it lists me, but thought Roy was it.
I'll go back and look at the January minutes and see if I might have made an error there.
I defer to whatever Roy wants, candidly. So, I just thought that's what it was. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll check to see if you were present or not. I don't recall, to be honest. Any other changes anybody sees? Take a motion to approve the April minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Financial status report. Mr. Bateman, can you run through our financial status, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, so as of July 16th, beginning balance of our community partnership checking as of April 16th, 2026 was $34,797.41. With credits, we received a refund for all the paper statement fees we had been receiving. We will no longer be receiving paper statement fees. Of $36, interest earned for April, May, and June was $7.14. With debits for grants to Naughty Needle of $1,500, Joe's Grill of $1,500, Sweep and Mop LLC of $1,500, the Irvington, Virginia Business Association, $3,500, RCC Turn Dynamics Grant, $10,000, and for the 2 months, April and May, paper statement fees of $6, leaving an ending balance of $16,834.55. For our domestic government unit CD, we renewed as of June 30, 5-month, 1.59% interest rate credited quarterly that matures on November 30th, 2026, and then will renew automatically unless the current rate is withdrawn or the money is withdrawn. There was a beginning balance at April 16th, 2026 of $44,504.03, with interest accrued this quarter of $715.14, leaving an ending balance as of July 16th, 2026, $45,219.17. And a reminder that the EDA's current annual revenue is approximately $12,472 from the two bonds it has issued, and we'll be discussing revenue later in the meeting. Any questions about the financial report?
Maybe, John, these grants that we gave this year, it'd be nice to get an update for the October meeting of any updates that we maybe have, looking back 12 months. We give the money, and sometimes we hear kind of what's going on with those businesses, but I think it'd be good just to kind of do a look back and get updates from all those businesses of how they're doing.
Yes, sir. Actually, as you all know, I've endeavored since I've been here at the county to try to follow up after the 90-day mark with these businesses. I fully intend on doing that. I actually recently spoke with Sweep 'em Up LLC, and they've managed to get 3 more government contracts, including Lancaster County, for porter service for our park down at Windmill Point. And that was due to that grant funding that you were able to, the equipment they were able to purchase through that grant. And Naughty Needle, I spoke with them, about a week and a half ago, and they're doing very nicely with the grant that you gave them. But I'll have something a little bit better to present in October.
Great. Yeah, if that could be on the agenda, I think that'd be helpful. Any questions on the financials? Do we need a motion to approve the financials, Mr. Bateman?
No, there's no action taken on the financials.
Okay. Moving on to the website, if there's no other questions on the financials, we'll talk about, I guess, grants and loans and
Yeah.
things in the future. But just so I don't forget by the time we get there, we have talked about the CD, and good morning. You made
Sorry.
it
Yes, I made it.
in person, live.
Try to, whenever possible.
All right.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Tom, would you make a quick statement that Terrence arrived in
Oh.
person?
Well, Taryn, Bryce Rowland is no longer remote. She's here in person, so we'll continue the meeting, all present.
And I have verification, Taryn, that you are indeed the vice chairman.
Oh, okay, all right, thanks, guys. I guess I was in Egypt during that trip. You
Yeah.
threw me under the bus.
If
That's
you,
right.
if you,
Just kidding, just kidding.
if you're not at the meeting, you're going to get volunteered for things.
I voluntold people a lot, so.
That's it. But the CD is maturing, and we've talked about it. We're just going to renew it a very short term, which is the highest interest rate, as we figure out further funding avenues, if that's okay with the committee.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I believe that in our last meeting, we had discussed, or you all had discussed, once the poorhouse tract funds are transferred to a money market account or whatever account that'll be holding it, that you would also transfer that CD funds to that same account.
Right. So we're just keeping it on a short leash right now, with a good interest rate.
Good.
Website, Mr. Bateman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the county has hired Seth Ruby full-time as our assistant IT personnel. And as you remember, last year, you guys were presented with an economic development website that he had been working on. He's been here for a little over a month, but we're getting ready to get back into working on that website so that we can get it up and running. So Seth's going to give you kind of a rundown, just a refresher of what we had, and then we can have a discussion about what we want it to be.
Hey guys, So this website is pretty much in the same spot that it was.
Seth, can you just take a second and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm Seth Ruby. I've been living here in Lancaster and Whitestone for about 7 years now. And I just graduated from Virginia Tech, so I'm full-time now here. And I'm working right now on 2 website projects and whatever Glenn else has me working on. So yeah,
Great. What was your ma-
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What was your major?
I majored in computer science.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Congratulations. Well, I don't have to welcome you. Live here, but
Yeah, thank
welcome
you,
to
guys.
this.
Appreciate
And
it.
congratulations, Glenn.
Yeah. A little backup.
But yeah, as I was saying, this website is one of the 2 projects I'm working on right now. And it's pretty much in the same state as it was last year. As you guys saw it, I did some major things that you probably can't see that restructured the site to have a different theme, so it supports some more functionality, such as drop-down menus, notably. And among other things, small stylistic changes. But basically, it is functionally the same as last year. And so it has a home page with a updates section, so it can be, how do I say this, like updates to the Economic Development Authority can be posted here, such as this example one about the 2024 Achievement Award. Additionally, there are a few tabs. There's a major section, the resources for businesses, because this website is all about getting businesses, small and big, up and running. And it has a whole bunch of information about frequently asked questions, the incentives that Lancaster offers from the state or from localities, as well as funding resources for small businesses, the EDA grant that you all offer, and other links from the VEDP and the Small Business Association. Additionally, we have our own site selection page from the VEDP. It's an embed that offers all of our sites that we have available for in Lancaster, and people can zoom out, zoom in, see what looks good to them, and you can see all sorts of information about each site. There's an About Us section that has contact info and a whole bunch of information about just the general proceedings of what goes on with the Economic Development Authority, as well as a tab about the Lancaster 2035 plan, and a mostly empty right now, a representatives tab that hasn't been changed since last year. It's filler right now. There's no official pictures and whatnot, and a contact page. So that is the state that the site is in right now, and we wanted to get some opinions from you guys about what direction it should head, because there's a few things that I have in mind. First of all, I'm working on a second website right now, and this website is going to eventually replace the Lancaster County official website. And I can show a preview of that. I don't have a home page yet, but all of the offices pages are in a pretty good spot right now. And in my opinion, they look a little bit prettier than the other website I was working on before. And
So this is the Lancova
yeah,
website?
eventually, yes.
Yeah, that needs a big upgrade.
Yeah, I understand. It's responsive, works on mobile devices and such. And basically my suggestion that I want to bring up, which I completely understand if you guys don't want to do, is to have your own section on this website on the top tabs where my cursor is. And this would have its own drop-down menu with basically all of the information on the other site copied and pasted over, looking pretty as it is. And I don't have a way to illustrate this right now, but basically it would have a drop-down menu and have all the tabs such as About Us, the site selection, yada, yada, yada.
Would it be a link under the boards and commissions or its own high-level navigation?
I figured since the Economic Development Authority website is so important to you guys, I think it deserves its own tab. I don't know how logical that is though, so I figured some input might be helpful for what you guys want.
Maybe, I mean, if it's just economic development, I think that could be, as opposed to the Economic Development Authority with, I don't know if it would link back to our website separately, so you keep it separate, like a sub-site, or if it'd be integrated. I'm just thinking about the other authorities that we have and what precedent you're creating. But as far as our concern, I think an economic development tab in the top navigation would be absolutely fabulous. And it does deserve its own spot, just from the perspective of, as opposed to boards and commissions, if I'm a new business owner, someone from the area, I don't know to go to boards and commissions, so I think economic development does. Or business, local business, if you guys, it depends on how you're going to continue to organize the top level navigation.
Well, technically, I do represent a department of the county, although I'm a
team of one.
team of one. When you look at the some economic development websites for some other localities, some of the ones that I particularly like are Gloucester and the city of Portsmouth. Their economic development has a component of marketing to it. They're marketing their locality. They're utilizing the resources, the incentives that they provide as a way of saying, we're open for business. These are our tax, they're showing their tax rates. They're showing what incentives they provide to businesses, utility fees, all these things, to try to get businesses to choose that locality versus theirs. So from that standpoint, and really thinking about what might happen in the future regarding tourism for the county, because right now we mostly outsource that to our destination marketing organization. I want to sell this county, and at some point I want to hit the road, pound the pavement, whatever you want to say, to go sell this county as a place that's open for business. From that aspect, having a standalone website is beneficial. You could have a flashy domain name like, Open for Business or Ready Lancaster or something like that that really draws people's attention. So that's the discussion: is do we want to have a standalone economic development website, of which you guys are part of, or do we want to be under the Lancaster County Government Administration? There's nothing flashy about government administration.
I think it's a blended approach, so include us in the top level navigation with a link to that separate website.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it should be a separate website, not just all part of Lancova. You just click EDA and you go out to our website.
Because that'll give you more freedom, I assume, as well, to break away from the Lancaster template that you're using here.
Theming.
Yeah. And allow John to be as flashy as he wants to be.
It's job security, man.
Yeah.
Glenn?
I just wanted to add, that was my original intention, was to set it up as a separate, website that would, because we have other departments out there, beyond what we do in this building here, Sheriff's Office, Emergency Services, Broadband Authority, like that have their own separate websites. And, I guess my original intention was to put you all on that same level. And we would have we'd have a separate set of links that would be, very prominently, located near the top of the, that would be for those agencies. I think that was kind of the level that I was seeing it.
And Seth, I don't know if you have that context, but we are technically a separate entity from the county government. We're a nonprofit under the county. So
Yeah.
it makes sense for us to be separate also from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think Glenn and I are aligned in that a county administration website needs to have different functionality and flow than an economic development website that really needs to
So,
sell. So it's probably going to be flashier. It needs to navigate differently because you want to get them right to the businesses right to the resources that they're looking for. So all right,
that
that's
sound good, everybody?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
as far as.
Chief.
Thank you, Seth. As far as additional functionality, we talked about like incentives, right? Then there's different kinds of incentives that we talked about at the last meeting. There's financial incentives, which you guys are developing as an EDA. And then there's tax and fee-based incentives that the county Economic Development Department, with the help of CBRAC, needs to create. In fact, we're in the Virginia Enterprise Zone, which is a state grant incentive, but to be in that program, we have to have local incentives to match that. And currently we do not, so we're going to have to develop some local incentives. The trick there, though, is the county has very low taxes for businesses. We don't have a business professional occupancy or occupational license, and we don't have a tax. We don't have a meals tax. Our machinery and tools taxes and commercial personal property taxes are fairly low. I would argue that our real estate taxes for commercial entities are relatively low compared to the surrounding area. So it's going to be difficult, but we got to find a way to set ourselves apart from our competitors. And if you were, Tom, you were there, if you were at the presentation to the board in April, to the Board of Supervisors in April, what CBRAC presented was examples from Roanoke, Danville, Virginia Beach, and the question was asked, why are we looking at those entities? Why aren't we looking at Middlesex and Matthews and Richmond County? And the answer was pretty simple, because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I personally don't review them as our competitors. If you're going to punch up, don't punch down. And but to compete with those localities, for example, the city of Portsmouth, in addition to the state enterprise capital investment grant incentive, they have their own. Their EDA has their own real estate incentive, a grant that they provide. But they also generate more revenue than we currently do. So I think we can start small, and I think these programs we're going to talk about next are a good start. But the Board of Supervisors is going to have to also look at, tax-based and fee-based incentives, whatever it can, to try to incentivize businesses to come here. I think the biggest incentive we have as a locality is the quality of life that we can offer. I think but we need some more carrots to dangle in front of a business if we want to lure them here from somewhere else. Additional functionality for the website, the resources for businesses, how to get a business started, this kind of entrepreneurial ecosystem that CBRAC, the 2035 plan calls for. This needs to be a hub for it, but we also probably need a physical location. But I think the website's the start. We want people to be able to decide to do business here without having to set foot, and having a really good web presence is the start of that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Opinions. We all have opinions on design of a website, pictures and stuff. And that first picture it's a beautiful scenery of the sun and, the horizon. But that looks like a state park, a national park. It doesn't look like open for business.
Yeah, I understand.
So maybe something that says that, hey, we're open for business, not don't come here because we're in a state park.
Yeah, a picture of
But that's my opinion.
No, I
Everybody's
understand.
got an opinion.
I
A
think
lot
it's
of-
great.
A lot of the things here are just filler graphics. Like,
Yeah.
this is a photo I took from a drone like 3 years ago, and I just figured it.
It's a
fit
good
here, so-
photo, yeah.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful photo.
I think a great picture, real fast, would just, for low-hanging fruit here, would be a picture of Kilmarnock during like one of the sidewalk sale days, or maybe not sidewalk sale, but something when there's an event going on.
The Irvington Farmers
Or
Market.
the Irvington Farmers Market.
Yeah, those are great suggestions.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we're good. It's just a filler page.
Yeah, and if you look at, like, for instance, Portsmouth's website, they're talking about things like transportation logistics and access to broadband and the things that businesses really speak in their language.
Right, that's right.
And you can do that visually as well.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tom.
I agree with Tom on that. I think if somebody's looking at this, they've got to see that we've got a vibrant community, not just nothing. You know? I mean, it's not nothing, because it's what draw people here. I think there's a separate section that you could have in there for, this is our quality of life, should you decide to open a business and move here. But bottom line is, we're a vibrant community.
We're open for business.
And I
Yeah,
think
open for business.
open to business and support our businesses.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that could be low-hanging fruit is incorporate a feed of what River Realm is potentially promoting in the area, or if we have a feed. That's hard because it's not just Lancaster, but something that is showing a promotion of local businesses.
Yeah, the Virginia River Realm site does a really good job of promoting those businesses that support tourism. In a similar fashion, we could do the same thing for all that represent all of our different industries that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're not going to design the website here today, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for the suggestions, though. It's very helpful.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah.
Looks great. Appreciate the effort. Moving on to the revenue discussion, and maybe that rolls into grant and loan programs.
They roll right into each other. I wanted to start with a recap of the activities leading up to this meeting, which was the Board of Supervisors did take action in April prior to your meeting, authorizing the transfer of the poorhouse tract funds, roughly $320,000, to the EDA to capitalize these revolving loan and grant programs. They also discussed during that meeting and a subsequent tax rate meeting about the transient occupancy tax. They were presented with what's being charged around the region as far as percentage for the hotel tax, and they seemed at that time to lean into wanting to match what Kilmarnock charges, which is 8%. They're currently charging a 2% tax rate. And that generated annual revenue for the county in FY23 of $67,000, FY24 $74,000, and again in FY25 $74,000. So by increasing that rate, and they seemed also open to passing through all or a portion of that rate to the EDA to continue to capitalize these programs that you're creating. Because I think these financial incentives are going to be the strongest incentives we can probably offer. So that, in discussion following that about when the county board might want to do that, that tax is charged on a monthly basis to those businesses, and it's based on the calendar year. So if you were to change that rate, you would do so beginning January 1, 2027. And I think that's where sometime between now and then, they'll have to take action to raise the rate and authorize its transfer to the EDA for these programs, whatever percentage the EDA gets. But that would start January 1, 2027. So that's when you guys would begin to get this regular revenue source. I mention that because these programs we're about to talk about, the question will be, well, when do you start them? Like when do we open them up for application? So that's kind of where we stand on the revenue. Oh, and I want to point out that state code mandates that revenues generated at a rate greater than 2%, up to 5%, must be used for tourism-related activities. So that's why when we made the request to the board that it be for economic development and tourism. And the board may choose to continue to use a portion of those funds to pay River Realm and the Northern Neck Tourism Commission for the work that they do, but they may also choose to hand over tourism-related activities to the EDA, similar to like Middlesex. That's ultimately their decision on how they want to approach that. So, and the poorhouse tract funds are still sitting in their account until we have an account set up to move those over. So, that was basically my discussion on revenues as it relates to the next discussion. If you guys had any questions or
Questions on that recap of the revenues and what was approved at the board back in April?
What was the amount?
No.
Were you saying? 300 and some thousand?
the poorhouse tract fund is about $320,000, and it's an
320.
interest-bearing account. Yeah, and you can do the math with the transient occupancy tax until we know what percentage they want to give us or what amount they want to give us. But there's potential there to be a really good source of revenue for the EDA as it builds up over time. And there's still a discussion on whether or not, does that come into the EDA monthly? Does it come into it annually? Do we have to wait till the end of 2027? These are discussions that still need to be had.
But that tax kicks in January 1st?
Theoretically, if the board chose to do it, that new rate would kick in beginning January 1, yeah. So.
When did they make their final decision on that? I thought it was kind of made.
They discussed it and appeared open to it, but they would have to take action in a regular meeting to make that official.
Do we need to do anything to support that? I guess is the next question. How do we move that along? Because since we're in July now.
At this point, it's in the Board of Supervisors. It's in their court, the ball's in their court, so to speak.
Sure.
But myself and Don will keep that conversation going as to
Okay.
when they would choose to do that. We'll make sure that it stays fresh in their mind.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
It might benefit us to have greater engagement with the Board of Supervisors directly. So, Tom, it's time for me to throw you under the bus. Would you be open to reaching out to someone you feel comfortable with to just start facilitating more conversations so
Oh,
we
sure.
can include that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll reach out to some of them and have
Yeah.
just kind of do the same thing that John is and be in touch with them.
Yeah, not that I don't trust you wholeheartedly,
Um,
John. I just think we need to start having our own.
Well, I
I'll,
think it'd be a good idea.
She's trying to
for
get
each of
back at us
too.
for throwing her under the
That's
bus.
100%
as
what
vice
it
chair.
is. It's such a hard
I
job
think
being
it'd be a
vice
good
chair.
idea for each of us to talk to our own representative.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
yeah,
Each
in
of
your
us-
district, yeah.
Yeah, talk to each of our districts, supervisors.
And I got to say, I mean, Tom, it appeared to be very meaningful for you to be there to present, this information to the board, these suggestions. I think that was very impactful, and it
Yeah.
probably led to the decision they made.
Makes sense. I think it might help us be more included in decision-making too in the future for us to start engaging more.
Yeah, and to show up at some of the board meetings also.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
voice
I
our-
mean, after all, we've been struggling for years to try to figure out where we're going to get the money, and I've always thought, I think that the county was a place to go, and now we're finally there. I think we have to make it happen as
Yeah.
best we can. Yeah.
Absolutely, and there's nothing to preclude us from being at that meeting. Some of you represented at that meeting when those decisions are coming before the board.
You'll let us know what meeting would be most impactful?
Yes, and keep me informed about how your conversations with your board member goes.
Good. Grant and loan programs. We had set up, we talked about setting up a subcommittee to kind of work that revolving loan fund and come up with our own parameters. And maybe shame on me, I never really pushed that issue over the last quarter. So John, where do we stand? We need to kind of get our heads together on that.
Yeah, so in your meeting packet, there's two things related to revolving loan fund. One is an example from Portsmouth. Portsmouth partnered with a community development finance institution called Bridging Virginia to administer their loan fund, similar to the way, Tom, we had discussed it with the Virginia Small Business Finance Authority. But they have someone that administers it. They provide the funds, but they're basically having someone else administer it. But that's just an example. Tom and I had discussions in the spring with the Virginia Small Business Finance Authority, who does administer revolving loan funds for other entities, including the Virginia Tobacco Commission, I believe the city of Hopewell, and some other localities, and they seemed very open to administering a revolving loan fund for the EDA. They provided kind of an overview or a template that you'll see in your meeting package. It's kind of in a grid format that shows, eligible applicants, eligible uses, terms, interest rates, so on and so forth. And they also provided a draft, a memorandum of agreement. And in that, there are highlighted sections that are open for discussion. So I wanted to bring this now to you all, and this is something that we probably need to have further discussion on with the Virginia Small Business Finance Authority. I believe, Mr. Chairman, we had left that at, they were supposed to send us their credit policy or send you their credit policy so that you could review that. Did you ever get that credit policy from them?
I don't think so, so I'll reach
Okay.
back out to them.
Yeah, and I can on your behalf. That's fine, too. So, I mean, I think the suggestion here is that the county would partner with Virginia Small Business Finance Authority if we could reach reasonable terms to administer the program for us. But there's a lot that needs to be hashed out, and Tom, I'm afraid that you're the most knowledgeable on this front, so.
Well, we need to come up with our own terms and what we're willing to do.
One thing I did like about the Portsmouth program is its focus on SWAM businesses and businesses that were disproportionately impacted by COVID. So I like that. I like that about it. Whether we want to go that direction or not, their interest rates seemed very favorable. And I thought it was interesting that their loan amounts were only up to $50,000. We had discussed, what?
Larger.
5,000 to 100,000. But,
I mean,
so I'm going to open it up for discussion about the loan program and, you know, what that might look like if the other members had some input.
yeah, I don't, I think we need to get together a small subcommittee and come back with kind of recommendations to the board. We're not going to be able to design it here today, I don't think.
No.
I mean, maybe get some input from everybody of where they see it going, but your comment about SWAM and we just need to open it up to any business. I mean, I don't think we need to limit it to anything specific. I mean, when you have a big city with thousands of different businesses, then, you know, you might have a special program out there for a special section, but we just, in my opinion, we just need to open it, the same program for everybody.
I agree. I do have a question for you, Tom, and for John. In terms of the credit information that you're looking for, is it how they're checking credit, or what is the vetting process? I mean, I know there's underwriting that they're gonna go through, but, I think, I'm just
Well,
curious.
that's what we need to kind of maybe make a recommendation, but no, it'll be the same, in my opinion, it's gonna be the same financial information that a bank would want for a loan request. So tax
Okay.
returns, financial statements, business plan.
Okay,
But maybe the window of approval is wider than a traditional bank,
okay,
because it's a startup or something, you know.
Sure.
So you still want, in my opinion, the same financial due diligence, but the policy guidelines are just a little wider.
okay, that sounds good. I do, this is tangential. I've seen a couple instances of grants being given out by EDAs to businesses that end up not paying their employees or things of that nature. And I just want to make sure on the grant side of things that we're probably doing more, because as we get more interest, we're more likely to experience that, so, or have that come into our realm.
Yeah, that's more the, after it's booked and monitoring the
Right.
loan, not only for loan payments, but some loan covenants that
Yeah,
perhaps they need to achieve, and maybe it's a tiered.
and I think the
You know.
grant, the loan program is gonna be a little bit easier because we've done more vetting, but from the grant side, I think we need to have a conversation about that. So that's just an item to, the parking lot for us to discuss.
Specifically talking about the loans,
Yeah.
you guys are kind of touching around a really good point, is the process, right? Because you all are not used to approving loans, and there's going to be a sort of education that has to occur, and there's going to need to be a robust process for how the applications are vetted and then monitored. That's a lot of work. And how much of that is Virginia Small Business Finance Authority doing? How much of that are we doing as an entity? How do other EDAs monitor? And so I think what I'll do is I'll actually reach out to some of the other EDAs that have these revolving loan programs and get an idea of how they, as an appointed group, manage that process. So I'll get some example.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I mean, the servicing of the loan for insurance and for loan payments and just the routine stuff should be done at Virginia Small Business, but I would think on an annual basis that we want to have some annual review with that business to make sure they're hitting their milestones and, everything's going well. It's hard to, once the money's out the door, it's hard to claw it back.
Sure.
But you need to monitor it and let the customers know that, we're watching you.
Yeah, yeah.
At the very least. And we want you to do well, What else can we do to help you if you're struggling?
Yeah, I think being attentive, it goes a long way,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key to all of that is how much security do we want to require?
Yeah.
And how tough do we want to be on that?
Yeah.
That's always the two issues.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the Portsmouth program has no collateral required, no minimum credit score, and no prepayment penalty fee. Thought that was interesting.
Good with the no prepayment penalty fee. But the lack of credit score and collateral, I think maybe being a larger program can have greater risk than we can have. I don't think we would want that same low bar to have no collateral whatsoever, or well, we're saying collateral, not security, I guess. We're not talking about matching funds. I'm sorry. When you're talking about collateral, I'm thinking about something completely different because I'm not in the banking world. Don't do this every day. Okay.
Well, I mean, you could look at this from a standpoint, if it was a secure loan, it would be an investment. I mean, because that would be a rate of return for the, is there interest charged and all this? I haven't had an opportunity.
Yeah.
to-
Yeah, there's
I mean,
interest charge.
it would be an
so-
investment for the EDA, so.
Exactly.
You
So
gotta
hopefully-
decide whether you want to throw this money out and they interpret it as a gift or a grant.
Right.
That they don't have to pay back, there's a lot of that out there going on. Or, I mean, we're still kind of a small entity here. We want to make sure that we
Yeah.
are.
Tom,
I don't think that.
No, I think there's two, we have a grant program and then a loan program. The loan program is an investment in the business with a return so we can relend that money
Right.
to the next business. And we hope to get it all back. There's going to be defaults. I mean, we're going to, but it's how do you manage that?
Yeah.
And how do you make it acceptable that we're not just wasting the taxpayers' money?
Now, the grant issue, I think, is really easy to figure out. The loan aspect, I think, is a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And I think we really need to figure out what our objectives are
Yeah.
for doing that before we
Yeah.
So,
go too far. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, at your suggestion, the committee was yourself, Roy, and Taryn. We'll circle back around with a follow-on meeting with Virginia Small Business Finance Authority to discuss, to pick that conversation back up. In the meantime, I'll reach out copying you back to Ray, I believe his name was Ray, to send that credit policy over so you can take a look at it. So I think that's how we'll follow on with the loan. With that, I can move on to the grant discussion, which I think can be more than accomplished here today. Modeling the grant programs after what the city of Portsmouth has, I really like the way their program is set up. There's a couple of points that you guys will have to kind of decide on whether or not you want to go exactly the route that they do. But in short, it would be, they have actually 3 grant programs. I told you about the capital investment program. For us, we're going to rely on the states enterprise zone grant program for that. Starting off with these two. The first would be a Smart Start Business Development Grant. This is for a business that is between 0 and 3 years old, that has less than 10 or 10 or less full-time employees. So we're talking small businesses. That's a point of discussion. Do we want to limit it that much? Do we want to allow larger businesses to apply that have greater than 10 employees? It's not that we have a ton of those, but it would, so I've laid out in your grant, in your packet, both of these grant programs and, what the eligibility requirements are. This grant that we're talking about now would be a $2,500 max grant. What the grant parameters are, grant submission schedule will be on a quarterly basis. In here, I have listed that the round would open in January, but you guys meet that third Thursday in January, so perhaps the grant application period is January 1 to January 17, up to the date, or to the 15th. That's something that needs to be discussed about the submission schedule. Maybe you make it the month before, maybe you make the month of December, the month in which they apply. I'm going to need your input on all this. The application and approval process. For instance, Portsmouth requires the entity to go through this Santa Clara University My Own Business Plan Institute online course. It's 10 modules that can be done on your own time. And once completed satisfactorily, they give you a certificate. And it basically is educating business on how to create a plan. I thought that was my opinion was that's kind of heavy-handed for $2,500. So maybe you submit a business plan along with your application if you already have one, and we can provide that as a resource. Tom you had sent me like 7 quick steps for a business plan. We can provide them resources to create a business plan, but perhaps the requirement is not a certification of an online course being taken, but it's show us your business plan and show us how these grant funds factor into your business plan.
I think the idea of a standard for a business plan is a good idea, because that ought to help us on our end to better evaluate what's going on, and also help us to make comparisons with other businesses and whether or not we've granted based upon certain criteria. I think that's, but yeah, I think your comment about it being heavy-handed, I think it's,
And maybe to your point, I
at
think,
least some sort of requirements for the plan, so.
Yeah.
right.
It's not just,
Nobody likes being
And-
given homework.
And maybe it's not an
yeah, and they'll help
actual,
them too, yeah.
Because a lot of entrepreneurs are just sort of the seat of the pants. And gee, I want to do this and get into it.
Sounds
So
like a good idea.
if they have yeah. And so if they have a plan and they can submit it to us, we can sort of vet that right there.
I do agree with,
To know the seriousness and to know the background, to know the resources that they have and what they look forward, what they're looking forward to accomplishing.
Is that something that could be put in the website on how to navigate all that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say, building on what Bruce was just saying, maybe if they have their full business plan, great, but we have maybe an abridged business plan or something that just pulls out the details that we specifically want to make sure we're getting that, so we can always know that we're getting the exact metrics we're looking for, the exact business justification. Because I see a lot of documentation today where it's not a standard. There's not a standard, and you get all sorts of different levels of quality, and we don't want to waste anybody's time. So if I think we give them the tools to deliver exactly what we need, we'd be in a better shape. So I think it could be something fairly straightforward.
John, backing up at high level, are we looking to scrap our current program? And this would be a new program to take its place?
These two would replace it, yeah.
And so what are the differences that we're talking about from the existing program, what you're proposing? There's 2 different grant programs you're proposing?
There's 2 different, and they're very distinct from one another, because one is intended for new businesses, newish businesses, who are developing their business, and one is meant to accelerate an existing business. You know, that's between like somewhere between the 3 and 10-year mark, like where they're at. They have a new program or service that they want to launch, and it would be related to that. So these two are very much different than what we currently have, which is kind of like a one-to-one match. It's not, why I'm suggesting we replace the existing program is it's not being effective because we're not requiring much in return from the business. These two would actually be requiring quite a bit, and the barrier to entry is, we're asking for more. We're asking for a business plan. We're asking for you to, you have to show that you are operating in the county. We can discuss whether or not it'd be open to businesses that have larger than 10 employees. They have to begin activities within 30 days and have the money spent within 90 days.
So one's for 2,500, one's for 5,000?
And one's for 5,000. Now, the 5,000 is actually a matching grant. So this 2,500 would just be, there would be no matching requirement. And again, because it's for developing businesses. It would be open for nonprofits. The only restrictions would be local, state, and federal government, religious organizations, and residential use businesses. They would be restricted. That's also a point of question for the residential use. Do you want to restrict the grant availability for residential use businesses?
I don't know what that means. What define that?
I mean that to believe that they are residential, that they're home businesses, home-based businesses. That's the way I read that.
Much as my wife's cosmetology shop, beauty shop in the house.
And-
Went in,
yeah.
delegated to that now.
Do we want to restrict availability of this grant program to someone who operates out of their home? Because we do have a great number of businesses that operate out of their home.
Restrict it to it or prevent them?
It
Bar them?
would bar them from
No,
accessing.
I don't think so. I think that's how a lot of businesses start. Not everybody needs to have a brick and mortar shop too in this day and age.
All right.
I really like the idea of having the two-tiered, because it's almost like the first one is providing funds for a feasibility study as to whether or not their idea is going to work, because there's usually a lot of expenses involved with that, maybe, legal or whatever. Yeah.
Eligible activities would be professional and third-party services to assist in establishing the business, including legal, financial, accounting, marketing, e-commerce, small-scale production, manufacturing equipment, machinery, tools, technology and digital infrastructure, so hardware, software, digital platforms, business furniture and fixtures. Ineligible activities are wages, benefits, or payroll expenses, rent, operating costs, real estate improvements, supplies and inventory, residential use furniture, or decorative items. So, I would have you guys look at the eligible and ineligible activities and provide some input on if you think that that's appropriate. And then as far as like required documentation for application, we'd ask for the business plan one, and then we'd have a completed IRS or Form W-9, articles of organization from SEC, complete business plan, I've mentioned that. This 2 quotes per product or service that you're going to purchase with the grant funding. I don't know if you guys think that's onerous or not. And then some financial statements. I think the financial statements are important, personally.
So these two new programs would replace the existing, or would we still have the existing?
No, it would replace the existing. So moving into the business acceleration grant, the main thing that distinguishes this grant from the business development grant is that it is a matching grant. One second here. Yeah, it requires a 5-to-1 or 20% financial match. So It's a matching reimbursement program, so it's reimbursed. So we're not giving it up front. That's the other thing that distinguishes it. So it requires the applicant to make that initial investment for the full cost of the activities, and then 80% of the eligible cost, up to $5,000, will be paid as a reimbursement. And the grant purchases must be completed within 90 days of award. So they can't do the activity and then apply. They would have to receive the grant, then do the activity within 90 days with a reimbursement. And these are all open for discussion. I would like your input on what you think about the matching requirement and the grant parameters. Another thing that distinguishes this from the other grant is the eligible activities are similar. Oh, it does, actually, never mind. I thought that it excluded business furniture and fixtures, but it does include that as an eligible activity. So actually, those are almost identical, the eligible and ineligible activities. And we may want to change that you may want to be more deliberate about what you intend for the business as it's accelerating its growth, what they're spending that money on.
I'd like to make a suggestion, maybe, we all just got this yesterday.
Yeah, and my apologies.
I think this is great, good start, and, but I think we all need to read it and then email or call John with our suggestions that you can pull together. Everybody's kind of, after we digest it, look at it, do a little bit of our own research, we can throw ideas back at you, and then you can kind of put those together and come back at the next meeting with a little bit better blueprint.
Yeah.
So after phase one, let's say, somebody comes in with phase one, then after they get going, they can come back for phase two?
For the acceleration
For the
grant, that's the
acceleration
intent.
part.
Yeah, and you're only allowed to go in for each one of these grants once, or you're only allowed to be awarded once. It actually further restricts, Portsmouth actually further restricts it and says you can only, within a 5-year period, apply twice. I don't know if that's a restriction that we want to put in there.
So you're saying
Well-
they could come back, phase one, phase two were separate, so you can come back once for phase one, once for phase two?
Right, but not back for the either one,
Right, right.
yeah.
I like the idea of having some kind of limitation to ensure people are serious and about it. We've had, I don't know if you've been here when, we were here when someone came in and asked us for $40,000 to buy their entire inventory, but they didn't have, what the rent costs were, they didn't have any kind of budget. I mean, Roy remembers that one. I think people see this as, I think this will help people ensure that they're more serious, but I still think a limitation might be worth having. Well, maybe if we have a problem, we can add it.
Yeah, if somebody comes back, what that limitation, if I understand it, is you apply once, you're turned down, you apply twice, you're turned down again. You only get 3 tries at it, and then you're out, you can't apply again.
Yeah, and I don't know what the intent there is. I can only guess that the intent is, if you're being unsuccessful because your application is just not a good application, it's not a good project, and you're just going to keep coming back and asking for the,
Yeah.
Wasting everybody's time.
you're
After
wasting
3.
time. I think that's what the intent of that
Yeah.
is. But there's other ways of doing that. Like, for instance, right now with our current program, these applicants come to me and I help them craft their application. I'm providing that technical assistance to help them really suss out what it is they're trying to accomplish and how it relates to their business plan. I actually enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
It depends on how many of these we're going to be getting.
I think there should be maybe way to skin that is have a waiting period. If you're turned down, you can't reapply next quarter. You
Yeah.
got to wait 12 months or something. That just makes it, they're not coming back every quarter with
Yeah.
a little tweak. And we're like, we just saw you last quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that suggestion.
Something like that.
Yeah,
A resting period.
I think it's a really good start, because if we have a problem, then we can I feel like I'm actually was just advocating for trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist yet. So I think that's a good way to stem it, like get ahead of it without being punitive.
You know, Tom, you're in the banking business. If you see a young business that's come to us and borrowed some money or has gotten a grant and they're successful when they're growing, wouldn't it be more likely that they could get a bank loan the next time?
Yes.
If you look at it.
Yes,
So
100%.
they don't have to come back to us. They can actually go to a bank and say, here's the plan. We're successful.
Yep.
We need a little more money. We're growing.
That's right.
Okay.
I got this grant from the EDA. I've grown it from this far. You know, we've, traditional bank can say, oh yeah, I've seen the growth. Now you qualify
Yeah.
for traditional banking.
So they're not going to have to keep coming back to us
Yeah,
if their plan is working.
the way we
They will have
presented
other
this to
sources.
the Board of Supervisors was, the way these two grant programs and the loan program are structured is it's supposed to guide development and growth of the business to the point where they can get private financial investment. It's helping them grow to the point where they can actually be a little bit more palatable to a bank or.
Or to partners. Yeah.
One suggestion here I did want you to consider. In fact, what I'll do is I'll follow up. I'm gonna neaten this document up and maybe separate it into three documents, one grant program, another grant program, and then I'll highlight areas where I think your input is probably most helpful.
That'd be great.
That'd be helpful, yeah. that'd be great.
One is funding is available until the funding pool has been exhausted for each program year. And that program year would be I believe it would be a calendar year. Do we want to have a funding pool versus sky's the limit? I think there's a lot of value to having a funding pool, like saying this is how much grant funding we're going to issue this year.
It's, yeah, it's easier to manage a budget that way
It really is.
and just set a budget for the year and
Yeah.
abide by it. And we know what income's coming in, so hopefully it's a wash.
And you likely wouldn't set a similar restriction for the loan program, but for the grant programs,
Right,
because, that's not, those monies aren't being returned.
right. No, I think that's great if you can mark this up, 3 different attachments with kind of your input, and this is where I need help, and then we can all email back, get back in touch with you.
Any feedback from Portsmouth as to how successful this has been from anybody?
Yeah, I spoke with their economic development director. He's the one he actually provided the agreements, templates for the agreements and everything. He was actually kind of excited that, although that we had noticed it and wanted to mimic it. Yeah, he says it has a lot of success, particularly for the startup businesses. That's where they're seeing the greatest
Yeah,
amount of
so that's
success.
Trickiest to lend to.
Yeah, and it's hard to help somebody with their idea, right? It's their idea, and how did they develop that into a business model? There's only so much resource and assistance you can provide. That's something they have to think of, and the successful entrepreneur is one that really kind of nails it.
Well, some more to come on the grant and loan program. The grant program, I think, just input back to John. The loan program, I'll reach back out and get kind of that ball rolling again from Virginia Small Business Finance Authority. I think John and I and maybe the small committee can meet separately and start developing our underwriting guidelines and program guidelines and then send it out or present it at the next meeting. That's going to take a little bit more time to develop than the grant program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Question for you all. If we develop these programs, would we want them to start January 1, 2027? Is that our aim?
Yeah.
If we have the time, if it's feasible.
Yeah, I
And
don't see
then
why
we
not.
could do phased if it's not.
Okay, all right. If that's the case, then sometime between now and January, we need to have those poorhouse tract funds transferred.
Yep.
Tom, homework, would you look into the money market account thing? And like, when do we, when do we want to get a money market account? When do we want to take action on that in preparation for receiving the funds? So that it doesn't
We
end up.
take action of ask for the funds and get it transferred to our money market?
Yeah, so I mean, the county could transfer it to our checking account, but it seemed to me to make more sense that they transfer it directly into whatever account is established to receive those funds.
Yeah, it needs to be an interest-bearing money market account.
All right, so,
We can set that up if the committee's okay with us setting up a money market account and transferring those funds.
What kind of interest, Tom, would you be receiving on money markets? Roughly? I mean, is it,
2 to 3%,
so
I'm not sure.
larger volume of money basically would earn more money is what we assume?
Yeah.
I mean, that should be helpful for that large amount of money. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to keep the principal and be able to make the earnings work for us, you know?
I assume it's getting interest now.
currently, it's in a Virginia-based account through the Virginia program, and it's getting a greater than 3% interest return. I forget
Maybe
it.
something you want to shop. I'm just saying that along that way. I'm not knocking anybody's accounts. Don't get me wrong. I know when Dad was treasurer of Ed County seat, he shopped all of the local banks and tried to go with the best rate he could find.
And that's what I was just going
For the county, so there's no conflicts of interest here.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was going to suggest, if I could get some help shopping around. That'd be great.
I would ask the vice chairman to do that, so there's no conflict of interest.
I can do that. Are there restrictions? I'll need somebody to provide restrictions on what kind of accounts we're allowed to get. I mean,
Specifically a money market account.
so we could just go to Ally or something like that.
You want to shop local, don't you?
I want to provide the most benefit to the
Absolutely, keep it in the
county.
county, please.
I will look
County
at,
taxpayer money,
Yes,
stay in the county.
please, stay.
that is the goal.
The
Yeah. That this is a restriction.
the banks actually pay taxes based on the deposits to the county.
Oh, see? Okay, and this is why I needed the list of restrictions I
Yeah,
needed
so it
for
kind of-
shopping.
Yeah.
I didn't think Ally would actually fly. That was as egregious as I could think of,
So.
You're just needling me now.
a little bit.
Yeah, so the best rate we can find, but trying to keep it as local as possible.
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't need
a
to be
bank with a presence, not headquartered.
That's correct.
Okay,
It just needs to have a branch here.
okay.
Okay, I think we have our next steps. Tom, you'll get with Ray, subcommittee will meet on the loan program. I'll provide you guys these 3 programs to get your input for discussion at the next meeting. Taryn, you're going to research money market accounts.
Yes, sir.
The last thing I had related to grant and loan programs was, in your packet, you'll see a Smart Start Business Guide that City of Portsmouth put together. I think it has some real utility for businesses. Obviously, our website would have similar information, but I like the idea of having like a document that kind of lays things out. So if you guys end up liking this, if you like this, I can actually work on developing one for the county that ends up being kind of mirrored on the website.
Yeah, no, copy away. I mean, we're not producing something brand new that somebody else hasn't done, and so save the time, and
Absolutely.
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, it's also another way for me to get information regarding the enterprise zone out to businesses and commercial entities so that they can access it. That program's underutilized, and I've struggled to find ways to get to jam my foot in the door when someone's about to make a capital investment for a commercial use. We're using permitting information right now. So basically, someone comes in, their contractor comes in, applies for a building permit, and they put just a rough value on there. So they're not going to be putting the actual value. It's the contractor, so they could care less about an enterprise zone grant, you know. So getting that information out is I've found very challenging. A lot of times it's just me driving around and saying, ooh, somebody's building something there. What is that? You know? So if you guys see somebody building something in a commercial area, you let me know, and I'll find out what they're building and if they're eligible for that enterprise zone. All right, I'll work on this business guide.
Okay. Thank you for all that good information. We got some homework, team, to work on and get this off the ground, get some funding in place, and I think it's really going to change what we do here at the EDA with this.
Yeah.
Make it more impactful group. Any other business, John, or any members have?
I do have one thing. The Bay Consortium
You've
Workforce.
given us enough, John.
This is primer for actually the next meeting, but the Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board has a career influencer. Her name's Beth Sharp, and her job is to go into the school systems in their service region and promote careers, jobs, and she's had an inaugural Senior Success Summit in Essex in May. And it brought high school seniors from across the Northern Neck and Middle Peninsula together, featured keynote speaker, interactive breakout sessions. It wasn't like your traditional career fair. It was more like a summit or a workshop or a symposium, and it was very successful. And they would like to have it at our new Lancaster High School in December. And they had received some funding support through the Essex EDA for that program. They haven't officially made an ask, but I think they're going to come in October and make an ask of the EDA to help support that summit, which serves more than just Lancaster County, by the way. It serves their entire Northern Neck and Middle Peninsula region, but because they want to have it here in Lancaster County. And I think their idea is to move it around the region from county to county and to have it 2 times a year, once in the late first semester, once in the second semester.
Can you send us their information on that program and who they are?
Yep,
They have a pamphlet, a handout, something about who they are.
I will get you something.
This is a teacher association or a nonprofit association or just an individual?
So the Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board is our region of Virginia's workforce entity. It's very difficult to describe what they do, but they provide access to careers and jobs for individuals and access to employees for businesses.
This is a state,
Yeah, this is a statewide Virginia Works, formerly Virginia Career Works, and our region is served by this entity. They serve 16 counties.
but they're underneath a state entity or are they nonprofit?
No, they're a state. They're managed by a board, and a CLEO, which is all the chief elected officials of the localities that they serve. I serve on there in capacity for Chairman Giese as the chief elected official. The County Board of Supervisors provides funding to them on an annual basis, a very modest amount. I think it's $2,600 for the services they provide. They provide a lot of services. And one of them is going into the high schools and making kids aware of various careers that are available. When Giles Scott was in that position, they would give the kids a virtual reality, and they would, work as a linesman and get hands-on experience. They were looking to grow their programming to provide greater access to careers. So this summit brings in various educators, military, higher education, industry leaders to talk about available careers.
Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. More information to follow.
I also want to commend John and bring up some other economic development activity that took place. John and I recently went on a trip with Go Virginia, in which John volunteered and gave up 4 or 5 days of his personal time to go to the state.
7.
7? Oh, well, The
I
rest,
I sacrificed 7 days to go to Maine,
for
yeah.
In the middle of the summer?
the last
And also-
three being the Maine Oyster Festival. But we went, it was part of a Go Virginia implementation grant in which they were looking at, this is, I don't know if anybody knows Bill Walton, but he is kind of like the father of oysters throughout the southeast.
VIMS,
Bill.
Virginia Institute of Marine Science, yeah.
What did I just say?
No,
You
you're
said-
right.
Oh, Bill. I was going to say Bob Walton. Bill Walton. Bill's fabulous, and he has recognized that the state of, in his research and activities throughout the whole of the East Coast and beyond, he has seen that Virginia, state of Virginia, produces more oysters than any other state in the country. But we don't lead in innovation. We're lagging behind in innovation. The state of Maine is a leader in innovation and is doing some incredible things both on the tourism front, the innovation front, co-locating with businesses, and generally just supporting the industry. So we spent time with Bill and a group of other oyster farmers, economic development professionals, and R&D researchers in academia, going through and visiting different operations within the industry to see what the state of Virginia could start to explore, to see if we could take that spot as the top innovator for the aquaculture industry. And it was
Innovation, you're talking about aquaculture or traditional bottom growth?
No, aquaculture.
aquaculture.
Aquaculture farming.
Aquaculture.
Right.
Aquaculture being one of the Go Virginia's target sectors for high growth, high paying jobs. And it was interesting to see what opportunities were out there. We're at 9:50, so I'll keep this short. But the state of Virginia is really could learn a lot from the state of Maine. So thank you, John, for volunteering
Thanks
time for that.
for going to Maine, John.
Yeah. I had a bunch of people say, wait a minute, you flew all the way to Maine for oysters?
The oysters are real different up there.
They're a different animal for sure.
So
If there's
the
no
culture
other
is very
business,
different.
I'm
Take
not
a
gonna,
motion to
I'm not gonna
adjourn.
run them down or anything, but.
But yeah, thank you. I so motion to adjourn.
I'll second. We're adjourned.
Thanks.
Sorry, guys, I need to run.